In the bustling city of Accra, Ghana, Amma, a young woman of 21, carried a heavy burden in her heart. She had always dreamed of a bright future, perhaps a good job, a loving husband, and a family in the distant future. But now, with a child growing within her, everything felt uncertain. For weeks, she had kept this news to herself, wrestling with the daunting reality she faced. One golden afternoon, standing outside her mother's home, Amma felt the weight of her situation pressing down on her. What will I do? How will I manage? And Kweku, will he accept this? She thought, heart pounding as she rehearsed the conversation she knew was inevitable. Later, in a secluded park surrounded by trees, she stood nervously before Kweku, the man she loved. She took a shaky breath and told him, Kweku, I'm pregnant. Kweku's face fell, his shock turning into disbelief. What? Amma, this, this isn't possible. We talked about our future. We had a plan. And this wasn't part of the plan for this phase of our lives. He shook his head, his words hitting like icy stones. Kweku, please, Amma pleaded. Your tone is getting me scared. You almost sounded like I single-handedly interrupted our plan. We should be able to face this together. But Kweku's face remained set, his gaze hardening. No, Amma, I'm not ready for this. I have my dreams. I have my plans. And this is not part of it, at least not now. Find a way to abort it and let me know what it will cost. Amma lifted her head in shock, surprised that the love Kweku had professed all this while will get so cold suddenly. She tried to convince him that they should consider raising the child, who is a proof of their love for each other. But Kweku would have none of that. This will wreck my life, Kweku said. It will set me on a never-ending cycle of trying to catch up with paternal bills, which I am not ready for. Amma still couldn't believe what she was hearing from the love of her life. All her rehearsals for this discussion didn't prepare her for this. Please, Kweku, I need your support for us to raise this child. I can't get myself to kill our unborn child. I am ready to bear whatever consequence that comes from this. I know our families will chastise us. Church will chastise us. Friends will laugh at us. But all I need is your strong shoulder to lean on. All will be fine eventually, she summarized. Kweku responded with a straight face. You should be happy. I'm not accusing you of infidelity. I am not ready for the lifetime changes that this will bring. I will send some money into your account and you can inform me of the remaining medical bills when it is done. But if you choose to be stubborn about keeping the unwanted pregnancy, you're on your own. Either way, I don't want to see you again until you have terminated that destiny wrecker. And with that, Kweku walked away, leaving Amma to bear the weight of her situation alone. His words echoed in her mind. You are on your own, like a cruel melody that refused to fade. She had called her mother to tell her what happened and appealed to her to plead with her father. Later that night, her head would spin like a carousel when her mother called back to say that her disciplinary father had disowned her. In the months that followed, Emma's life grew harder. She rented a cramped room and took on every job she could find to scrape by, from cleaning to mending clothes, working endlessly to save for her baby's arrival. Each day felt like a struggle to survive. Yet, amid, yet, even amid the exhaustion, she found a small spark of hope. a love that grew with each passing day for the child she carried. Finally, on a hot Saturday afternoon, in a crowded hospital, Emma's son was born. Exhausted but filled with quiet joy, she looked down at her newborn's face and whispered, Kwame, my boy, I may be alone, but I promise you, I will do everything to give you a good life. Your arrival marks a new beginning for me. My love life turned out to be an unfortunate adventure, but you will now be the symbol of the turnaround I have been praying for. She named him Kwame, a name symbolizing strength, resilience, and new beginnings, and so began her journey as a single mother. Over the years, Emma's days blurred together in a cycle of sacrifice. She worked multiple jobs, often from dawn till dusk. Every cedi she earned going towards Kwame's school fees, meals, and clothes. Her own needs went unmet. Her health worn down by sleepless nights and endless labor. Yet Emma's love for Kwame never wavered. As Kwame grew, he became a thoughtful, determined young boy. Watching his mother's quiet resilience with admiration, he recognized the sacrifices she made, and from an early age, he was filled with an ambition to become a doctor, not only as a personal dream, but as a way to honor his mother. One day, I'll take care of you, Ma, he often thought, studying by candlelight when the power would go out, his determination as steady as his mother's. Emma's pride for her son knew no bounds. Though their means were limited, she supported him tirelessly, ensuring he received the best education she could provide. Kwame excelled in his studies, driven by a desire to give back to the woman who had given him everything. Years passed, and Kwame's hard work and ambition finally paid off. He became a doctor, a moment Amma had dreamed of since the day he was born. Wearing his crisp white coat, he stood outside the hospital, his heart swelling with pride. Amma's eyes filled with tears as she hugged him, whispering, My son, a doctor. Oh, Kwame, you've made me so proud. Kwame threw himself into his work with dedication, treating each patient with care and empathy. One night, he was urgently called to the emergency ward. An older man had been brought in, critically ill. Kwame worked tirelessly through the night, doing all he could to stabilize his health. As the man regained consciousness, Amma arrived at the hospital for her blood pressure checkup. The nurse on duty had attended to her and she wanted to say hello to her son before taking her leave. She stepped into the room only to recognize the frail man lying on the bed. It was Kweku, the man who had once abandoned her and their unborn child. Amma, is it you? Kweku whispered, his face edged with shock and recognition. Amma felt a wave of emotions, her past pain and memories flooding back in an instant. Kwame stood, puzzled, looking between the two of them. Ma, do you know him? Amma took a deep breath, gathering her thoughts before answering. Yes, Kwame. This, this is Kweku, your father. Kwame's eyes widened as he processed the revelation. Emotions swelled within him. Shock, anger, betrayal. All these years, Ma, you never told me he was still alive, Kweku whispered, his voice trembling. Amma looked at her son, her face softening with a sad smile. I didn't want to burden you, Kwame. I wanted you to grow without hatred in your heart. Kwame looked. Kwame took in her words, feeling the weight of his mother's sacrifices in a new way. He thought of the years she had carried the pain alone, the strength it had taken her to raise him without bitterness. He turned to Kweku, who laid on the bed, weak and vulnerable. You abandoned us, Kweku said quietly, his voice steady, but his eyes filled with conflicting emotions. Left my mother to suffer alone, but I will not let bitterness define me. Amma watched her son with pride, seeing in him the same strength that had carried her through the darkest times. Kwame's choice was clear. He would forgive, choosing resilience over resentment, the way his mother had taught him by example. In the weeks that followed, Kweku remained in the hospital, slowly recovering. He looked at Amma one day, his voice frail yet sincere. I'm sorry, Amma, for everything. Amma nodded, her face softened by years of lessons in resilience. Life has a way of bringing us full circle, Kweku, she replied gently. What about your wife and family? She asked. She cleared my life savings and eloped with her secret lover. Her friends said she later confided in her that my parents' high expectation for a grandchild that didn't materialize made life unbearable for her. He recounted as a single tear dropped from the corner of his left eye. Amma could only feel pity for the shell Kwame had become, a shadow of what he was back then. She thought to herself, life's curveball is really unpredictable. Who would have thought that the very pregnancy that Kwame wanted to be aborted will produce the doctor that would save his life many years afterwards? As Amma and Kwame left the hospital together, Kwame felt a sense of peace. His mother's example has taught him that love, even when tested, was stronger than bitterness, and that forgiveness could be the most profound act of strength. Back at home, Amma and Kwame shared a quiet moment, the years of hardship behind them. You've made me proud, Kwame, Amma said, smiling. You've shown me that the strength to forgive is what truly makes us whole. In the end, Kwame's story was one of resilience and redemption, a testament to the quiet sacrifices of a mother and the healing power of forgiveness. Through Amma's unbreakable love, he had built a life defined not by pain, but by strength, resilience, and the enduring power of love.